Now, we want to solve question. And as we listen, God bless you. Now, the question we want to solve now, there are calculations that are sent to us and we want to look at them one after the other without small time. The first one says, which of the following has the least thermal conductivity? A, water. B, air. C, ash. D, glass. In this particular question, I will go for air. Ash is the same thing as wood, which has approximately, let me say, 0.1. Then water and glass has approximately 0.8, 0.7, 0.6 with thereabout. So water is about, air is about 0.02 something thermal conductivity. So don't forget your thermal conductivity formulas, and which I'm going to refer to it maybe probably after the class to show you one or two things. But the answer to the question is air. Number 2, an electron with speed of what? 4.5 times 10 to the 6 meters per second. We have a wavelength of dash. Now, I formulate a formula that I used to solve under wave particle duality, is what? Under the Broglie assumptions, is a wavelength equal to what? H over momentum, which is same as what? H over mv. Knowing fully well that the Planck constant is 6.6 times 10 to the minus 34 joule second, and mass of electron is 9.1 times 10 to the minus 31 kg. Now, if you now combine them together, quickly you discover that you are going to have 7.25 times 10 to the minus 4 meters square per second, or divide by V. That means if you divide Planck constant, divide by mass of electron. So we now have only V. V can vary, can change. Lambda can also change. So anyone you want to find, you can use this formula to solve them. Except the case whereby they give you speed of light, then you can play with it. Now, let's see. I say we have a wavelength of dash. Now, we are going to substitute the velocity given to us for electron. This velocity of the electron. I'm going to put it there. What we are going to have now is that lambda equal to 7.25 times 10 to the minus 4 divided by what? What is what velocity of electron? 4.5 times 10 to the power 6. And that will give us 7.2 divided by 4.5. The closest of them all is 1.6. I can take 1.6. You can always maneuver 1.6. Then 10 to the minus 4 divided by 10 to the 6. That will give us 10 to the what? Minus 10 meter. We can convert it to millimeter. If you convert to millimeter, you are going to have what? 1.6 times 10 to the minus 7 millimeter, which is option D. Now, the next question says the color of light depends on frequency. Roman figure 1. Roman figure 2 says what? When white light is dispersed by triangular prism, yellow is deviated more than green. I think that is a flux. You cannot say yellow is deviated. Let's look at the third one. It says rainbow are formed when rain fall heavily. Now, we have what I coin as Roy beef. It means red, orange, green, blue, Roy beef, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. Violet deviates more than red. Though violet has the least wavelength, don't forget, highest frequency, but green, red has what least deviation and what the highest wavelength or least what frequency. Now, what we are now saying is this. Now, look at it. So, if you are asked, that is the question you can be asked, which of them has the least frequency, least wavelength? You will say what? Violet. Nevertheless, we say why Roy beef is colors are what are formed by what? By white light, color of white light, which is when they pass through a dispersive medium, they create a what? A different deviation and having different colors. And this can be achieved by what? By rainfall heavily, which can cause what? Rainbow. Rainbow is what? All these colors combined form rainbow. So option Roman figure 3 is correct. Then let's look at Roman figure 2. The colors of light depends on frequency, correct? When white light is dispersed by triangular prism, yellow deviate no. Yellow deviate lesser than, look at yellow. Yellow comes before green. So deviation is what? decreasing, is increasing like this. So this blue is more deviated than green. Green is more deviated than what? Yellow. So that option, Roman figure 2 is a flux. So it should not be considered. So it's 1 and 3 that will go take as my answer. The next question said, by adding pentavalent impurity atom to an intrinsic semiconductor material, the number of dash A, atomic number increase, B, free electrons increase, C, free electron double, and the last one I say the number of holes increases. Now, what do we do to answer this question? Don't forget that to add a pentavalent impurity to a pure semiconductor is saying something. Now, when you want to get an intrinsic semiconductor, it's also known as a pure semiconductor, which can be either silicon or germanium, having number of electrons equal to number of holes. That's what the intrinsic semiconductor does. That means the number of electrons and number of holes are balanced. Now, when you add a pentavalent impurity like what? Arsenic, or you add what? What do you call it? You can add the antimony to it. Now, when you add them to what? To a germanium, with 4 electrons at the outer shell, you have 9 electrons, which is 8 and 1 surplus electron, meaning that the free electron thereby increase. So, and that's why we call it this kind of combination. We produce what they call an N-type semiconductor. N-type semiconductor. When you add a trivalent element to a pure semiconductor or an intrinsic semiconductor, there will be what? Holes will increase. That would have been option G. So since the word is pentavalent element that is added, a 5 electron, penta means 5, added to a 4 electron at the outer shell. To achieve octet stage, you need 8 electrons, and there is a 1 surplus one. Though this one is donor, while this one is acceptor. So in this case now, the free electron will be the answer. It will increase in this case. We don't have much time. If not, go and watch my video on diode. Check live. I did that video live on my channel. So just check live. You see question and analysis of the semiconductor. It's number 5 says an object that is partially submerged in fluid of density 780 kilogram per meter experience a buoyant force of 250 Newton. Calculate the volume of the liquid displaced. We have A, 26 times 10 power minus 3 meter cube, B, 37 times 10 power minus 3 meter cube, C, 45 times 10 power minus 3 meter cube, and D, 32 times 10 power minus 3 meter cube. And now we play with it. The question is, what is a buoyant force? A buoyant force is an upthrust force. And when you say upthrust, in this case now, considering the question, since he achieved a buoyant force there, it means that in this case, the upthrust is equal to what? Density times volume times gravity. Though we are given 2 parameters here, or 3 parameters, 250 Newton is given as upthrust. Volume is not unknown. G is 10 meters per second square. We are not giving, so we assume G equal to 10 meters per second. Density is 780 kilogram per meter squared cube. Now we play with it. Now we have volume equal to what? Upthrust over density times gravity, which is 250 Newton divided by what? 10. 780 times 10. So play with it, and we'll see what comes out from here. This one will cancel this. We have 5 divided 25 go and 5 go in 25. We have 5. 5 go here. We have what? 15. Remainder 3. Then there's 156. Then 156. 5 divided by 156. We have 0.032. That's about what? 32 times 10 power minus 3 meter cube. I think we have something close to that answer in the option. Okay, option D is our answer. Option D is our answer. Let's move to the next question without much ado. Now, in the next question, we are looking at a question on the Broglie assumption again. And it says what? The mass of photon for wavelength 7 times 10 power what? Minus 7 meter, which behaves like particle, is dash. Now, in this case now, we have our mass to be what calculated for. Now, wavelength lambda is 7 times 10 power what? Minus 7 meter. Now, we have our speed is given as what? Which is speed as what? In this case, he assumes speed of light, which is what? 3 times 10 by what? 8 meters per second. That means they assume that it is what? Moving with what speed of light. That means it's the mass of photon of wavelength. So that's it. Now we are looking for H is what? Is given as what? As what? 6.63 times 10 by what? Minus 34. Now we'll play with it. Now what we're going to do simply is to use our formula. So we are going to use what? Lambda for photon, which is what? Energy is equal to hc over lambda, which is h times frequency, is equal to mc squared. I want to compare these two and cancel this. We have MC. So I want to have lambda equal to H over what? MC. This is the formula we are going to use for this photon, the mass of photon. Since it's photon we are talking about, it's not mass electron. Now, why they say mass of photon is what we are looking for, and the photon is behaving like a particle. That's why they give you the speed of photon. If it was electron, they would not have given us speed, like what we saw in the previous question. Now, what we're going to do now is simply to put our value there, 6.63 times 10 by what? Minus 34 joule second, divided by what? Mass of a photon is unknown, so we can make it the subject of formula. Let's put what? Lambda here, and we are looking for mass, lambda. So lambda is 7 times 10 by what? Minus 7. Now, the speed of light is what? 3 times 10 by 8. We play with it now. So when we divide it, we are going to have what? This minus 7 minus 10 by 8 give us what? 1. Then we go back, we have 10 by what? If this one goes up, it becomes what? 10 raised by what? Minus 35. Now we are going to divide 6.63 divided by 3, then divide by 7. Let us quickly do that. You have that in your calculator, your system, that you can. You have problem with that. We are going to divide that so that we will not waste our time here. 0.315, 0.315, which is what? More or less like what? 0.32 times 10 by what? Let me see, 0.32 times 10 by what? Minus 35. Now, when you get that now, minus 35, what it simply means that we are going to have what? 0. What? Let's see. This is what? Don't forget that this is minus 7. So this one what? It will give us 1. Minus 7 will give us 1. Then we have a speed of light as what? 3 times 10 by 8. So in this case now, if this what? If you have 10 raised by minus 34, then divide by what? 10 raised by what? This one will give us what? 10 raised by minus 42. Minus 42, look at it, minus 42. Minus 42, if this one go up now. Now, minus 42 plus 7, what do we have? That would give us minus what? 30, minus 33, rather. Okay, let me see. That was minus 35. So minus 35. Then if you now shift decimal point, let's see 1. That will give us 3.2 times 10 by what? Minus 36. That's what I want to have. If I should use my calculator to confirm whether you are correct, because we just want to confirm so that we will not be on the wrong side of the solution. Sorry, pardon me, to do that for confirmation. We are doing good job, so we need to confirm whether we are on the right track. So that is minus 7. Then times what? 3 times 10 by what? 8. So we have 3.2 times 10 by what? Minus 36. I'm correct. Just want to confirm it to make sure that we're on the right track. So each one now we have what? We have, this was supposed to be 36 all round. Sorry. It's 36 all round. 36. So in that case now, the answer to that question will be what? This. Please don't forget, that will not be of kg. Kg. So that will be your one, your answer to the question. So take note of this question. Let's go to number 7 without wasting more time. I think we wasted a lot of time there. That question, we are very sorry for that. They say the value of capacitor that can retain 8 times 10 by minus 2 joules of energy when fully charged with 100 volt battery. So what we're going to do now is simply 100 volt battery is simply what? Going with what? Our energy is equal to what? Half, okay, my mic is working, half CV square. No, energy is what? We can also have half what? QV and half what? Q square over C. We have these three formula, but this one will be better. The reason being that all our parameters are embedded in that formula. 8 times 10 power what? Minus 2 joules is equal to 1 over 2 times what? C times 100 what? C square. We have the battery voltage is what? Is 100 volt, which is V. So we play with it. Cross multiply. We are going to have what? 16 times 10 power minus 2 equal to what? C times what? 1000 10,000. Now I haven't gotten that now as our what? To make C subject of formula is to divide by what? 10 power 4. Now if you are dividing by 10 power 4 because of 40 that is here, we are going to have 10 power 4. This one cancel this one. So C will have what? 16 times 10 power what? So I'll go up as what? Minus 6 what? Farad, which is saved as what? 16 microfarad. 10 to the power minus 6, don't forget, is saved as micro. So microfarad. That is option A. Let's go to the next question, number 8, which is second to the last question. Now, in number 8, now, we have what? They say the speed of sound in, that's option D. They say the speed of sound in air and a solid at what? 0 degrees Celsius is what? 1000. What is the speed of what? Speed at 25 degrees Celsius? We have A, 1043 meter per second, B, 1044 meter per second, D, 1045 meter per second, D, 1042 meter per second. Now let me do something here. They said what? V is proportional to square root of temperature. Please take note of that. So if you remove proportionality, I would have what? Equal to Kt, and I would have V over square root of T equal to constant. So in that case, now we can create V1 over square root of T1 equal to V2 over square root of T2. We play with it now. Now V1 is what? Is equal to now don't forget T1 is what? 0 degrees. If you convert, you have 273 Kelvin. T2 is equal to what? 25 degrees Celsius. If you convert, I would have 298 Kelvin by adding what? Then you have V1 is what? 1000 meter per second. V2 unknown. That's what we're looking for. So put it there. So our V2 is equal to what? V1 times root T2 over root T1. So we play with it. 1000 times what? Root T2. T2 is what? 298 divided by root what? T1 is what? 273. So if you play with that particular what? Solution, you are going to have a, don't forget now, this perfect number closer to 289 is what? 298 is 289, and 289 is 17. So 17 plus, now 289, I'm taking a perfect number closer to 298 is 289. Now 289 is 17 plus. Now if you have remove 298 from the 109, then 34, which is about 0. If you press this is 0. Approximately 0.2. Let's say 9 divided by what? 34. 0.26 thereabout. So if you add it together, I would have 17.26. If you add it, the answer you have gotten. Now add it together with what? Plus 17. Now when you get that, what I would have is 17.264. Then if you find the square root of what? Find the square root of 289 or 298. Naturally, you have what? The same thing. So 17.26. So that means I'm on the right track. So 1000 is times what? 17.26. So if you want to use calculator, that's what I'm saying. The same thing, if you do that other one, you are going to have what the perfect number closer to 273 is what? 256, which is what? 16. Now 278 minus 256 will give us 22. 22 divided by 32. If you press your calculator, because you don't have square root on your calculator in this particular exam, so but you have other number, fractional numbers, normal numbers you can divide. So you have what? Divided by 32. So you're going to have what? 16.68 thereabout. If you press square root of what? 273, you see that you are going to have something like, you see, approximately 16 point what? 0.2. So that will now be what? 5.2 here. You have 0.2. Now if you press your calculator now, you are going to have what? This one multiplied, you are going to have 1044.78 thereabout. If you press your calculator, you are going to have that. Let's see, 17.526 divided by what? 16.5 what? 2 times what? 100. That's 1,000 rather. I would have 1044.7 what? 9 thereabout and all that. 7 something. But approximately we are going to have what? 1.1045 meter per second. So the closest answer to that question is what? Is D. They are very close, but the closest answer. Let's go to what? There are 10 questions we have to answer. Let's go to number 9. Number 9. This is number 10. He said what? The man moves what? This is vector, and I would like to solve it this way. Go and watch my vector, either A level or O level. It will help you. Whether you are writing down, you are writing post-UTME, you are writing any professional exam, NDA, NECO, WAEC, any exam, foreign exam, go and watch that vector analysis and you will enjoy it. Now he said the man walks 6 meters east. 6 meters east. East is what? If you have what? This one is the starting point. East is 0. While here is 90. Here is 180. Here is what? 270 and 360. So we move anti-clockwise vector. So if you say 0 is talking about 0 degrees. So I can say 0 degrees. So if I want to resolve into X and Y component, I will say 6 cos 0 for the X axis. Don't forget, I'm moving from here. So I take my east as 0. So in that case, I'm moving anti-clockwise. So I will take 6 meter 0 degree. I'm resolving it now into S and Y component. Now 6 times 0. Then we have the second one. They say what? And then 10 meter. And then 10 meter north what? 30 degrees east. Not 30 degrees. How do we draw that one now? We are going to have it like this. Look at the board. Is not 30 degrees east. This is it. And don't forget, this is east and this is north. So you start from here and move. You must move from anti-clockwise from the east. So here will now be 60 degrees. You must move anti-clockwise, starting from the east starting point. So that if you don't start from here, that means this one cannot be cosine, cannot be sine. So we start from here like this and rotate. Now this is 10 meter not 30 degrees east. 10 meter, this one, not 30 degrees. They started with north, 30 degrees. So I started with north, then draw 30 degrees. Then so I take this angle now. Why I have to take this angle? If I use this, I will use sine for what? Y, and cos for Y, cos 30 degrees for Y. Then if I want to resolve, that means here will now be 10 cos 30. Here will now be 10 sine 30. But if I'm using what? This angle, here will not be what? 10 cos 60. Yeah, here will not be what? 10 sine 60. Which is the same thing. Don't forget, cos 30 is the same thing as what? Sine 60. Cos 30 is the same thing as sine 60. And sine 30 is the same thing as what? Cos 60. So I'm using this one, this angle. So here will not be what? This one means what? 60 degrees from the east. From the east anti-clockwise. So that will not go 10 cos 60 degrees. And 10 sine what? 60 degrees. So we now add them together to get summation X and summation Y. Please go and watch my vector analysis, I beg. Then cos 0 is 1 times 6 was 6. 6 plus what? This is cos 60 is 1 over 2. So 1 over 2 times what? Times 10 will give us what? 5. 5 plus what? 6 will give us 11. Then what do you have here? This one is 0. Then this one is what? 5 root 3. Because root 3 over 2 is sine 60. Then 10 root 3 over 2 times 10 is what? 5 root 3. Now, having gotten that, now we are now going to find, using that to find our magnitude. To find magnitude, you use what? Square root of what? Summation S all square plus summation y all square. Why? To find direction. Direction is what? Theta. It's tan inverse of what? Summation y over summation x. So this is the formula to use. Now, what we're going to do now, we are looking for magnitude because they said, then I say, how far is he from the starting point? A, 12 meter, B, 17 meter, C, 15 meter, D, 14 meter. So what we're going to use now to find magnitude. How far from the starting point? So it's magnitude they are asking from us, even from the option you see. So we would have what? Summation x is 11 square plus what? Summation y is what? 5 root 3 all square. So what do we have now? We are going to have what? 11 square plus what? 25 times 3 is what? 75. Got it now? Yes, 75. This is 25. 25 times 3. If the 12 of 3 is 3. The 3 times 25 is 75. Don't forget, square root of what? Look at it. 5 root 3 all square is same that 5 root 3 times 5 root 3. And in short, 5 times 5 is 25. Root 3 times root 3 is what? 3. So 3 times 25 is what? 75. So that is what? Then all square root. Then this one will give us what? 121 plus what? 75. All square root. So what do you have now? So we have, that will give us 196, 9 what? 196. 196 is what? 14 meter. So that will give us 14 meter option D. Now the next one, if you ask to calculate direction, you can use this formula to calculate direction. The last question, which is not the least for my classes, because we continue. Just what? If you know you are enjoying this class, please just like and subscribe if you are watching me for the first time. But if you are a returning viewer of this particular man teaching physics, please just what? Thank you for watching and for always watch my classes. And thank you and God bless you. Now let's see. The last question number 10 says, well, a 500 watt electric oven plugged into 220 volt source will consume an electric watt current of dash. Now we know that power is involved equal to IV. Power is a very vital formula you should know. It's equal to I square R equal to what? V square over RT. Power equal to what? MC change the temperature over time. Power equal to force times resistance over time. Power equal to what? Half mv square over time. Power equals to what? Half m what? Half ke over time. K square over time. Power equal to half fe over time. Power equal to what? mgh over time. Power equal to force times distance over time. Power equal to force times velocity. Power equal to C change the temperature over time. Power equal to what? HF over time, which is photon energy, rate of photon energy. Power equal to EV over time. Power equal to half Li square over time. Power equal to what? Half CV square over time. Power equal to what? Half what? QV over time. Power equal to what? Half what? Q square over C over time. Power, and you can continue to what? To list the formula for power. It depends on the question involved in the or the parameter given to you in the question. So you just have to know your formula. If not, you are going to be thrown away with that simple question that you are supposed to boil. Now let's go. Let's quickly solve the question. I equal to P over what? V is formula to use. Why? Because I'm giving my current to solve. I have my power as 500 watt. I have my voltage given to us as what? 220 volts, my dear. So the suitable formula to solve this question is this one, the first formula given to you, which is what? 500 watts all divided by what? 220 volt. So I'm going to have it as what? 2.27 ampere. Is it there on the question? Yes, for sure. See. Till when we shall see again, I know you have spent a lot of time together in this class. Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful day.